So the Summer Games Fest was this last week. What are your if you were to rate it on okay, so there's the Xbox showcase, the PlayStation showcase, and the major Summer Games Fest.
Yeah.
How would you rank let's the first Summer Games Fest or let's say the PlayStation showcase because that was first of the weekend. Out of 10, where would you put the Summer Games or the PlayStation showcase?
Do you want just like
Yeah, and overall.
an overall first, and then we'll
Yeah.
go by console? I
Yeah.
think the general consensus of this Summer Games Fest is very widely spread. I
Mhm.
think that there is a lot of people that are excited for certain things, which they should be. There's a
Mhm.
lot of people that aren't excited for anything, which I can also see that. And then I think there's most people that kind of fall right in the middle, and that's where I fall to, where I was like, meh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was fine, but there wasn't anything to it that really was like, "Oh my god." Like, I didn't
Yeah.
have that, like, wow moment from any of the showcases, and I don't know if
Right.
you did.
I don't have that as well. There was a couple games I'm like, "Ooh, I'm excited to play that," but there were some things that I was, like, anticipating that I really was looking forward to that they didn't show at all.
Yeah.
The biggest one being Wolverine. Like,
Yeah, nothing
we
on
have a
Wolverine.
radio silent for the last, like, year and a half of that game. I don't remember if Sega announced all that rebooting in the Summer Games was last year or is it its own thing? But, like, where's the stuff about Crazy Taxi,
Streets
Jet
of
Set
Rage,
Radio,
Jet Set
Streets of
Radio,
Rage?
yeah.
Wasn't Shinobi though? Shinobi 2, that was
Sh
one of them.
Shinobi was on the list, yeah, too,
And
all
they
of
yep,
these
so they
remasters.
Shinobi 2 is in that like it has its own announcement. So that was during the Summer Games Fest. But I think it was just missing a lot in that big wow. And I know the Resident Evil game, that's a big one that people were really excited
Yeah.
about. Resident Evil. Oh man.
I don't
And I'm
have it
not
here.
let's see. Resident Evil Requiem?
Yeah, Requiem,
Requiem.
yeah.
So I know like that's what a lot of people are excited about, Death Stranding too, but I think those are just people that are fans of those. The biggest thing is I think the people that are most excited about some of these games are the people that have grown or like have come to love this franchise and grown up with it. And so that was hard for me to pick some of those games that I'm like, I just never got into it, or I don't really know what it's about. So I think I'm with you. It's a pretty mid like, yeah, there's things that are cool, but nothing that wowed me. I think.
Yeah, and I hate to throw chalk, but I mean, I honestly feel like the showcase itself, like the Summer Games Fest as a whole, I'm right in the middle with a meh. And each one of the showcases from Sony, from Microsoft, like I'm kind of just meh across the board.
Yeah, yeah.
It's I my my expectations were low, so it's not like I'm disappointed. But
Mhm.
again, I just never got that moment where I was like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
I'm so juiced right now. Never got it.
Do you think that's partially because there's some games that we're really anticipating, like GTA 6? Like, you think that like it was almost overshadowed, like, man, like we were supposed to get GTA 6 this month. Like, what the heck? Where is it? Like, do you think that has something to do with how people are acting towards the Summer Games Fest and their thoughts on it?
I mean, we'll talk about this, but I mean, yeah, I think maybe the hype for the Switch 2 right now is kind of like throwing people off. GTA 6 is kind of throwing people off. I think like, some of just the old standbys that are kind of hot right now, like, COD is bumping. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm not super sure if people are just excited for new games or they're just not excited for these games.
Yeah.
But you would think that one developer would kind of have a better timeline. Like, I feel like this is really poor planning on the developers
Yeah.
in the sense of like, we all kind of know that right now there's not a ton of competition for games coming out right now. Like,
Mhm.
somebody should have dropped a banger at this Games Fest
Yeah.
because even if it was just a banger, it wasn't like a blow your mind kind of game.
Yeah.
Like, it would have taken top spot, no problem. Like, it had
Mhm.
zero competition.
I think, like you said, the only competition it had right now is the Switch 2, and the people there's a lot of like, I'm not getting the Switch 2, or they sold out quickly. But one game that people thought was going to really be released at the Summer Games Fest or the over the next couple weeks was Arc Raiders, and
Right.
even they are pushing their release to October.
Right.
And so many people are excited for that game and for that game not to make it. And yes, they're probably still working and polishing and stuff on it. I'd rather them polish it and make it clean and really fun to play rather than having a bunch of bugs.
Yeah.
But I just feel like you said, there's a bunch of missed opportunity that they didn't release a big game coming up very soon because right now people aren't happy with the way like the Switch 2 is and the facts things like that. And like you said, there should have just been one banger game that we could all play right now.
Right.
So
As a developer, you gotta find a happy medium, right? Because we talk about this all the time. You drop a trailer and you get everybody hyped, and then you go radio silent for 2 years like they've been doing with Wolverine, and all of that hype and that momentum is just dead. You know what I mean? Right? And it's like, you gotta find that happy medium where you're not going radio silent. You gotta figure out a way to put out something to let us know where the game's at. Also, if you're gonna take a little bit of time, like Skate 4 is notorious with this. They just have been putting garbage out for like the past 5 years about here's where the game's at, but the game never comes out. So like you gotta find that happy medium where you're not doing that because I'm super annoyed with seeing anything from Skate 4 right now just because it refuses to come out and they just keep putting out content. But on the flip side, like with Wolverine, it's like, dude, I want to hear something. Like, you gotta let me know something.
the biggest thing I don't like is so this is Summer Games Fest of 2025. The amount of games releasing 2026
Yeah.
that annoys the crap out of me. I'm like, come on, this is in 2025. I want stuff that's coming out now. Like, I don't want to have to
Right.
wait. And I know there are some games coming out in 2025, like Outer Worlds
Yeah.
2. I'm guessing Black Ops 7 is going to be later in October or November. Mind's Eye came out today. Like things like that. Um the Liza P DLC stuff like
Like
that
the
has coming out.
DLC, yeah.
So things like that is good, but I like you said, I don't think having it say 2025 showcase, but everything's coming out 2026. Like it's like, oh
Right.
dang it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this
and then you forget, like you said, that they have all this hype, and you forget about it because it's a year and a half, 2 years later. You're like, oh, that's a game.
right. I mean,
Whatever.
it's too ever evolving. There's too many things going on, right?
Mhm.
Like we talked about Wolverine. I was super juiced for Wolverine. I haven't thought about Wolverine, and I can't even tell
Yeah.
you how long. Like, I'm just at this point, I'm just assuming we're not getting a game.
The more you talk about it, it needs to build the hype again because it has none, and it's becoming the forgotten thing. And like you said with Skate 4, it's like, man, oh well, Wolverine's not coming out.
Right.
Let's go on to the next game. And then all these like little indie games that are exploding, and then the fact that games are moving up to $80, which we're probably going to talk about. Like nobody's gonna. All these little developers are releasing $10 games, $20 games, free to play games that are actually exploding, and people are just aren't willing to pay that $80 price anymore.
They are, but they wanna pay the $80 price tag and get what they pay for. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's
Yeah.
part of the problem too, is like, you know, I don't know. You gotta really love it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when you buy a game and you don't really love it and it's $80, that
Yeah.
stings. You buy a game and you don't really love it and it was $10, you're like, "Meh."
Just move on. You
Yeah,
don't worry. You don't even think about that game ever again after you move on from it.
right. It just sits
But
in your Steam library and it just lives there now and you never touch it and you're like, "Ah, I spent $10." Like,
yeah,
whatever.
and then you think about games like Gotham Knight and
Oh
Saints
god.
Row
Oh
and
god.
Suicide Squad. Like those are games that they'll always be drilled in your head because you were so excited for them, and then they're just like,
The
wow,
the hugest letdown.
yeah, a huge letdown. And then you think of games that I bought on my Steam that were $10. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's
I
like,
can't think of one
uh,
because they never crossed my mind again because I didn't invest into the game as much to be disappointed in it.
yeah, you didn't invest into it.
That's kind of where I felt with the Summer Games Fest. Although there's a couple games that I was most for kind of breaking it down to the games that I was really excited about. 007 First Light.
Yeah, that looked
I think
interesting.
I didn't realize that it was the makers of Hitman. So IOI, is that
Yeah.
the is it like immersive games or something like
Yeah,
that, or
immersive.
interactive,
Yeah,
something like
immersive.
that.
I think it's immersive.
I was excited about that because as the trailer went on, I didn't realize that's who it was, and I was like, "This reminds me of Hitman. It's got some stealth. It's got some action to it. I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to be a stealth with some good action in the game because of the Hitman series and just kind of watching the game trailer a little bit. He kind of sneaks around, and then out of nowhere, there's things exploding. He's taking people down, punching and driving. Is that game? I think is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, 007 lends itself to like an infinite possibilities of doing
Mhm.
cool stuff. So
Any other games for you?
I mean, honestly, I'll be real honest here. Not super excited, but there are a few highlights here for me. You guys know I'm a Sony guy, so I primarily focused on the Sony stuff. Echoes of the End. I don't know if you saw that.
Ooh, yeah.
See that?
That one's pretty cool looking.
That one looks sick. I mean, it's I know it's early and they still have time. It looks like a really cool game. It looks like a really cool idea and it looks like a game I would love. Obviously kind of has some Souls-like influence to it.
Mhm.
It looks a little janky. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. The combat system looks a little janky, so I'm just hoping that that's kind of early and they kind of tighten that up a little bit. Resident Evil, of course. Directive 8020. Did you see Directive 8020?
I don't think I saw that one.
Ooh, that's the next installment in the Dark Pictures series.
Okay,
You know I
gotcha.
love that. Dark Pictures,
Yeah.
yeah, they Little Hope,
Mhm.
Until Dawn, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I love it. I love those games. So yeah, that one looks pretty good. You know what's different about that game though? And I
What's
don't
that?
know if I love this or I hate this. All right, so when you play those games, you know like the deal, right? Like you play the game through and you try to keep everybody alive
Mhm.
and you make decisions and in these games your decisions really matter. Well, like they're introducing a system now where you can go back
Oh, like a
and
rewind
yeah,
feature?
like a rewind and fix it.
Oh, that's I don't like that
I
because
don't
you're
like that.
well, granted, I don't play choice-based games because I don't like making choices that, like, kill people off, so maybe it's something I would intrigue me to go to it more, but it's one of those things, like, that's the consequence of the game,
Right.
and it gives it that replayability, so if you just repeat it over and over, it's like, "Ah, man." But I can see in real time why it could be kinda cool because you're playing the game, you make a decision, you're like, "Dang it, I wonder what the other decision is." But if you play all the way through, it could be one of those things that you're like, "Oh, I beat it. I don't care that much to go back and see the choices." Like,
Yeah.
I can see both sides of it.
I can see both sides of it. I personally don't love it. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of that. I think like, in a game where consequences really matter, the choices you make should really be the choices that you make and play it all the way through. Now, as a
Yeah.
gamer, you have the option to just live with your choices, right? So
Yeah.
like I guess I really have nothing to complain about because I can just go through and play it the way that I want to play it.
Yeah.
It is kind of cool though in the sense of you are also not only are you able to go back and fix it, you are able to go back and just keep your choice, but see what would have happened.
Oh,
So I,
okay.
I guess in the sense of like if you make it all the way through the game and you're like, the game was good, but like I don't really want to replay it. But I'm kind of curious to see what would happen.
Mhm.
In that sense, it's kind of cool that you can go back and just see what happens instead of playing the game all over again.
Yeah.
So I guess it's fine. But yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like in those types of games, you should just play and just
Yeah, you should expect to make the wrong decisions throughout the
yeah,
game,
you should
and
expect somebody ain't gonna make it. That's the whole point.
exactly. And
The
then I think there's probably going to be a mode like how there's an Outlast. If you die, you have to start over. Or for
yeah,
this case, there's a mode where you can't change it. It's like the hardcore mode, and you have to play the game all the way through. The choices is what you get. Or there's like the easy mode, and you can go back and hold your hand a little bit, you know?
yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of it, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that one. Any Dark Pictures game, I'm sure we'll be bringing that up at some point. Dune Awakening look actually kind of cool. I'm not the
Okay, let's talk about Dune a little bit.
okay.
It's not. I don't have much of a hot take. Well, I guess a little bit. I don't get Dune.
Keep in
Like,
mind, I'm old, so the original Dune means something to me.
so it's a bit like an older like
It's a nos
franchise.
it's a nostalgia hit, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, because
so I watched.
especially back in that day, there wasn't a ton of sci-fi stuff. So, like
I guess I don't know. I watched both movies, and I just felt like it was so slow and kind of boring. I'm sorry, Dune fans, but I feel like the movies are kind of boring. The game does
get
look
them,
cool, but
get them, guys, get them, get them.
but okay, I don't know. I felt like the movies just went so slow, and I get like no, I don't get it. I just don't get
You
Dune.
just
I'm
don't get
sorry.
it at all?
I don't get the appeal to it. I think there's definitely better movies than Dune, and for people to say, "Oh, this is one of the greatest movies ever," or how much high praise it has, I think it's unwarranted. Not unwarranted. I just don't see why. I don't see the why behind Dune.
Adam's out just throwing shots.
But the game does look cool. I think the game, the fact that you can have your own base building and things like that,
Yeah.
and but
I'm
Dune itself, I don't know. Like you said, maybe it's because I'm a little bit younger. When was Dune like a big thing back in the day?
oh, back in the day, I think the original Dune when the original Dune come out in the 80s? I think it's the 80s.
Let's see.
Yeah, I think in the 80s, late 80s?
Dune movie. 1984. So
Yeah,
yeah,
early 80s.
yeah,
The movie's older than me,
1984.
bro.
And they
Would
have tons of books, right?
Yeah, there's tons of books with it.
I don't know. Was the movie just like was it a remake or an extension of the story? I don't see. I didn't. That's another thing. I didn't understand where the story was coming in and played.
I mean, it's very loosely based on the thing is they made it so you didn't have to see the original to see this
Okay.
movie, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's elements, there's Easter eggs and stuff like that, but essentially it's a standalone, like, you don't really need to see the original 1984 Dune to see these movies,
Yeah.
and when they do that concept and they get that kind of free reign, like, it usually ends up the way that you're kind of describing it as, like,
Yeah.
I don't really know where we're going because they're kinda doing their own thing, and I can see that I can see your point, like, Dune, it's slow. It's I don't know. I think it's just for me, it's just the overall concept,
Yeah.
like, seeing the monsters, like, seeing, like, the just the settings and stuff like, that just kinda takes me back, so maybe it's not a good movie, maybe it's just nostalgia.
No, it's not. I think it is a really good movie that I just don't understand because there's so much praise for this movie and the game, and I think I just don't. I'm just not there. I just don't get it.
Maybe we should watch Dune. We should
Yeah.
watch it again and really think about it.
I kind of dissect it a little bit.
Yeah, we'll do a Dune dissection. Dune dissection coming soon, guys.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Adam saying no.
It just feels like it went too slow for me, and I'm the guy that just wants straight action the whole time. So, but
I think the game does have some pretty cool aspects
yeah,
to it. Also, Chrono Odyssey. We talked about Chrono Odyssey. That
yeah,
that
yeah.
actually dropped and looked kind of cool. Ludo, did you see that Ludo's coming out?
Don't
Remember we
remember
did
that
that
one.
for the Nerdy Live? We did that demo.
Oh yeah, the scary
Yeah, the
game.
scary game
Yeah, I
demo.
remember that. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like.
I'm curious to see. I don't know if you guys remember from when we did the demo. The demo was pretty hard. I don't think we made
Mhm.
it all the way through. It was pretty
I don't think
hard.
we did.
It was
Yeah.
pretty hard to solve the puzzles. So I'm kind of like curious to see what they do. And Blood of the Dawnwalker. Did you see that?
Mm-mm. It's funny. Some of these games that like, there's games that I probably watch that you're like to skip by, and there's games that you watch and you're like,
Yeah.
wow, that's awesome. And I just like
You know what's funny with
flip through my phone.
Blood of the Dawnwalker though? I got like super hyped, right? Because the trailer kind of opens up and you're this dude and you're fighting against vampires and I love all that all the like spooky dark stuff, right? So you're fighting against vampires and the combat system looks cool. And then as the trailer's going on, it's like the vampires aren't here to eat us, they're here to rule us. And then he's like, but I am something different. Like he got bit and he turned into something different, right?
Oh wait, I do remember that
Yeah.
game now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm the Dawn Walker. So like he has vampire powers, but can like
Mhm.
be in the sunlight and stuff. And my brain is just like, this is Blade. This is Blade. This is Blade. This is Blade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely see the connection with Blade or the similarity to Blade. That's
It's the
funny.
exact same story,
Yeah,
dude.
it definitely
The
is. But
Dawn
what's the other one?
Walker.
There's another one that's like that. It's Blade, and then there's the day breakers or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Daybreakers.
Is that what it is?
I mean, this story's been done a
Yeah,
bunch. But yeah, it's funny.
yeah.
Dawn Walker. I mean, Blade's a day walker. He fights with a sword. This is basically Blade set in like the 1800s.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
like
do remember that one now.
my excitement was all time high when the trailer starts, and as the trailer is going on, it's just like slowly diminishing.
That's how it goes in some of these games.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, there's one game that I don't know why PlayStation thought this was a good idea to open their showcase with this, but have you seen the game? It was like the very first game they talked about or like showed off. Oh my gosh, what is it? I'm gonna be blanking. Hold on, let me go. I literally just looked it up before we got on. It's Lumines Ares. Have you seen? You know which one that one
Did
is?
not see this trailer. No.
The very first game of the PlayStation Showcase.
Adam's fired up. Adam's
And this
fired
is
up,
what they
guys.
decided to go with. They went with Lumi's Arise. You know what
Okay.
this game is, Dave?
What?
A rhythm-based Tetris.
Huh?
For their first game? Are you kidding me? If I wasn't like invested in watching the whole showcase, I would have turned it off immediately. If I'm like, oh, this is what PlayStation's gonna start with. Not even like a medium-sized game or like something to excite the people a little bit. No, they went with a, and I know Tetris is a huge following, but I don't know. That was the dumbest game I think they could have opened with.
You gotta hit him with the foreplay, bro. You can't just.
That's not that's a turn off. Sorry, I'm walking away.
Sorry, this was a mistake. I will
Yeah.
call you later.
Yeah, exactly. That's never mind. I'm not gonna go anywhere. This is
That's
the
so
they were
funny.
wearing socks.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, there's an audience for it. You know what I
I
mean?
know there is,
I,
but at
I
the same
get it.
time, there's hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people watching this showcase across different platforms, and the first thing you're gonna open up with is a rhythm-based Tetris. Like, come on. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if they thought. I don't know what they thought. I don't even know what game they should have opened with. Like, out of the like, what game should have they opened with?
Oh my goodness. They could have opened with anything aside from that.
They probably should have opened with Chrono Odyssey. They
They
probably
could
should have
have
opened with Dune, honestly.
yeah. Tides of yeah, or a game that or Liza P, like the DLC. You
Lies
know,
of
there it is. I don't know.
DLC.
I don't remember what the DLC was or which showcase that was in. I think it was PlayStation. No, it was a Summer Games Fest.
Yeah, I think that was
But
Summer Games Fest.
I mean, you have Tides of Tomorrow. There's so many medium-sized games that would I think draw a little bit more excitement than Lumine. I don't even know how to say it. Lumines Arise.
The rhythm-based Tetris players are gonna hate on you, bro.
I do not care because that shouldn't have been the game to open up the showcase. But I digress. Overall, other games that I'm excited for, High on Life 2.
Yep.
I really enjoyed the first one, but I quit playing about halfway through because I was getting hit with bugs left and right and just kind of made it unplayable.
That was the
Um,
general consensus of that game.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then Outer Worlds 2 is huge, which a lot of people are upset that the game originally, the first one was $40 and now this one's $80. But most people that play these Xbox games have Game Pass, so it's going to be on Game Pass day one. So I don't think it's that big of a deal.